Nixtamalization is unbelievable. It takes an inedible crop and turns it into a staple food by using the power of chemistry to remove the corn's pericarp, making it more flavorful, more nutritious, and safer from mycotoxins. Does that sound complicated, culturally loaded, and super scientific? Because that's exactly why it took me so long to try nixtamalizing my own corn. I was under the impression that it was as dangerous as the soap-making scene from Fight Club and as unforgiving as my parents when they caught me watching a 1999 action movie with so many shirtless men in it. But something finally clicked when I learned that nixtamalization used to be done with wood ash. The word comes partially from nixli, which means ashes. This is a cup of dried corn and 2 cups of wood ash. I know that it's pure 100% unadulterated wood ash because it's from my Yoder smoker and nothing's ever been down here but pure hardwood pellets. I'll just sift the ash into a pot of water, add the corn, and bring it to a boil. After that, I can turn the heat down and let it simmer for 20 minutes. At this point, the corn is cooked, but not fully transformed. It's gotta sit overnight for 8 to 12 hours for the full reaction to take place. The next morning, you rinse the corn while agitating the kernels, and you've made nixtamal, or nixtamal, also known as hominy, which is the basis for literally hundreds of Latin American delicacies. Grind it into masa, serve it whole in pozole. The possibilities are too numerous to name now. The whole point of showing you all of this was to prove how approachable the process can really be. But if you're gonna try it at home, there's no reason to do it with wood ash. Do it with cal, a slaked lime that you can buy at the grocery store. I'll show you how. Measure out an amount of dried corn and then measure 1% of that weight in cal. Add them both to a non-reactive pot, followed by enough water to cover everything with an inch of headroom. This mixture is caustic, so don't go dipping your hands in it and rubbing it all over your eyes and open wounds. Just stir it all together. Boil it for 20 to 40 minutes until you can bite into a piece and it feels like a canned chickpea. Some resistance, but not hard. By the way, this smell is incredible. It's worth trying just for the aroma. Last year I spent 3 months trying to formulate a nixtamalized corn fragrance so that I could sell candles with this aroma, but it's truly inimitable. After simmering for 20 minutes, this is at the right texture. Cooked enough to bite through, but still mighty starchy. Cut the heat, put the lid on, and let it sit overnight for 8 to 12 hours. In the morning, agitate it and rinse it just like before. I'm so sorry that so many of the perfect parallels are garbanzo based, but this is exactly like rinsing the skins off of cooked chickpeas to make hummus. The amount of pericarp that you wash away will determine the texture of the final product. A nice 50% removal rate is the crowd pleaser, but if it's too hard to judge, there's nothing wrong with rinsing it all away completely. Easy enough, right? Well, this isn't a video about nixtamal, it's a video about tortillas. So here comes the hard part, grinding it up. I've got a hand-cranked grain mill here, and it's not easy, but it's the simplest option I have. You could do it in a blender or a food processor, but then you'd have to use extra water to make it loose enough to flow properly. That extra water would make the dough too wet, so then you'd have to dry it out by adding some store-bought masa harina. The easiest grinding solution is to use a molinito, which combines traditional volcanic stones with modern electronics, but that's a $2,000 machine. I could probably try using the...
I feel charmed by this grinder.
No. I have done it in my masticating juicer, which does work, but that's also an expensive device that not everybody has on hand. So today, I'm cranking it. It would take a really long time to explain the step-by-step process for each possible grinding method, so I'll leave links in the description if you want to learn more according to your own personal limitations. As if this process didn't look laborious enough, I have to grind this at least twice. The first time around, it'll be too coarse. If I had a metate, I could use that to get to the perfect consistency, but I don't. So I've got to run this whole thing through the grinder again at a finer setting. Can you tell why I had to split my corn tortilla video up into 2 parts? This is now finely ground, and I might need to add a tiny amount of water to get to the perfect masa consistency before pressing into little tortillitas. Refer back to part 1 if you need a refresher on how to judge the consistency. But you're watching part 2 right now. This one's all about being extra and going beyond the basics. For example, what if I got some cilantro bolting out back and I want to press the flowers into each one? What if I had multiple corn varietals on hand and wanted to use those to make a tie-dye tortilla? What if, instead of using water as my milling liquid, I used something flavorful like beer or leftover braising liquid? There are infinite combinations of corn varietals, milling liquids, and edible adornments, but your big takeaway should be that nixtamalizing and cooking your own corn tortilla sounds so difficult because all of these open-ended decisions are so hard to teach. In short, a half-hour boil with 1% cal, an overnight rest, a rinse, and a super fine grind is all it really takes. It's no walk in the park, but it's also not the ultra-precise chemical mystery that I expected it to be. My favorite part about learning stuff like gardening or making field corn digestible or any basic self-reliance skill is you get to develop a deep appreciation for ancient people who figured it all out for us, while also fraternizing with some of the most backwoods country folk you've ever known. What a joy it is to chat milpa systems with a Cletus or a Jeb. By the way, I don't want to make it seem like I'm making tortillas this way very often. Most of the time, I just start with dried maseca. And when I do make a big batch of fresh masa like this, I'll pinch off as much as I need that day and then keep the leftover dough wrapped in plastic in the fridge. That way, when I want a quick tortilla or sope throughout the week, I can just tear off a piece, form it into the proper shape, and throw it onto the skillet. For any viewers who heard all of that and still decided the whole process sounds like way too much effort, even as a once-in-a-while ordeal, you'll be happy to know that my grandma agrees. 2 years ago, when I told her I was learning this skill, expecting her to be proud and excited, she said, "Why not just use maseca?" Classic. Nobody has paid to be mentioned at the end of this video. The sponsors don't like being shoehorned at the end of my videos anymore, so instead I'll take this opportunity to say, consider going to patreon.com/shack and signing up there. Might I suggest signing up for any tier that gets you Discord access? That's gotta be my favorite benefit out of all of these, and I guess you're just gonna have to sign up and find out why.